Okay, so we are in week 8, and today we're going to talk about using tables and images in your documents. So tables, we'll start with those. They can be an efficient way of displaying certain types of content in a Word document, whether that be numbers or text. Um, so going over to the Insert tab, um, we find this little table arrow. So click on this arrow down here, and the quickest way to uh, add a table is with this insert table icon here. And what you do is just drag your mouse until you have the amount of cells you want. So if you want a 4x4 table, you'll go to the right 4, and you'll go down 4. More, less, just move your mouse until you get what you want. And then you just click, and there's your table. Once the table is inserted, you can start entering text or numbers, and you'll also notice this Table Tools ribbon has suddenly cropped up. I'll get to that in a second, but I'm just going to add some text. Um, okay, so just we got some text in here. Once the table's inserted, you can start entering the text. Then you can we'll get back to this Table Tools in a little bit because I want to talk about text first. But we can start formatting text within a specific cell. So I can make this bold and this bold, but then I can leave these. Another thing to notice is that when I make something bold in in another cell, it doesn't carry over to the next cell. If I wanted to have specific formatting options among cells, I would select a row or column or group of cells and make whatever changes I wanted to make there. So it would stay consistent from cell to cell. So that's basically how you work with text within a cell. As you can see, my table sort of auto-fit itself to the page, but you can go make some adjustments. So this little arrow here, I can now shrink this to make it take up less space. I can stretch it because let me undo that. So using this arrow, I was shrinking the entire table pretty much. But you notice this isn't changing because of the formatting parameters I set up for the bigger text, and it won't change this because this has to stay big enough. Now with this sort of arrow with the double line in the middle, that's how I can change an individual row. So an individual column. So you see now this is almost the same proportion as this, or an individual row. I've just suddenly made this row bigger, and all I've done is I align this little click and drag the cursor until I get that double arrow, and I click and I drag. That is a pretty quick way to make some adjustments to your cells. It's not necessarily the most efficient, but it's a start. Okay, let's see. Before we go and again do more with the tools, I want to show you the other way to insert a table is to go into Table and go Insert Table. Then you can do your rows and your columns, and you can actually set up your column width beforehand. So auto 0.3 inches, 0.4 inches. It'll go up in increments. And also this, remember dimensions for new tables. If you click that, whatever you set up here, whether you have it set up to auto-fit to your window, auto-fit to whatever you type in. So auto-fit to contents is fitting to whatever content you type into the cells. So like this text I have here. Auto fit to window is auto fitting to your screen. Um, so anyway, if you click this remember dimensions for new tables, anything you set up here, so if you have 5 columns, 2 rows, and an auto width, that will carry that for every other table you set up. And now you just see I just inserted a table within a table because that's where my cursor was. Wherever your cursor is, when you insert a table, it'll drop a table. Anyway, I don't need a table within a table. We're getting rid of that. um, sorry, I lost my place in my notes. And, oh, okay. So another way to work on adjusting a table itself is to right-click. There is so much you can do just from right-clicking. You can insert an entire column to the left or right. You can insert an entire row above or below. Um, you can insert individual cells and decide how you want to shift. So I just inserted a cell and then had everything shift to the right. I'll show this one again. Insert cells. I'm going to not insert an entire row or column. So I'm going to insert a cell and shift things down. So I inserted something to the right, everything shifted to the right. So that was useful. Then you can delete cells from right-clicking. You can select a specific row. So whatever your cursor's in, it'll select that row it's in. Or it'll select the specific cell your cursor's in. You can split cells into, so I had my cursor in there. I hit split cells. I said I want to make it into 3 and 2. And look, there's a whole bunch of new little cells within those that I can then modify and update. This merge split cells before split. Well, it's not really here. I'll split a cell up here. And, oh, that's not working because I actually don't have mergeable content in any of my cells. But if you had mergeable content in your cells, then you would click that if you wanted to actually merge the cells, the content of the cells before you split them. Anyway. So that's a way to add additional cells and rows and columns. Before we go into borders and shading, we're going to look at this, the way things fit a little bit. So I went and clicked here. I clicked auto fit to contents, and now all the cells are automatically fitting to the content of the cell. And the reason this individual cell is not fitting with the content in this cell is because I have set the formatting as such that this particular cell is the word consistent in here is taking up space, so it can't just make that one cell fit. But for all of these where everything's a little more standard, it all fits. Or you can say auto fit to window, and then we've got this, it's sort of fitting to the size of my page again. Let's go into this table tools. This is, so the plain old table is just white with, these thin, thin lines between them. But they've got these automated styles. So, hey, your table can be pink. Your table can be green. Your table can have this really cool heading up top. These are just all sort of automatic things that you can just play around with. And again, some of these designs are great, but less is more. Anything too flashy is going to detract from your presentation. You can decide whether you want a specific no border. basically just setting up certain formatting aspects, changing your colors. Oh, sorry, I'm in the draw borders thing, and I've gone off track, but it won't let me pause and rewrite. So pretend I haven't messed with the pen color at all. The draw thing is weird, and I'm not going to go into it too much because I actually don't like it. But then so here we've just got some auto styling things. The columns now here, so I hit banded columns. Um, they alternate, and it looks a little weird because I've been messing with it here. But this column's solid. This column has white space. This column doesn't. Um, Layout stuff. Um, these are a lot of properties that you'll find. You can also honestly find most of these by right-clicking, but you can decide how to align your table. Um, Setting text wrapping is good. So I'm not gonna mess with so text wrapping around. So I would like to. It's not doing what I want it to. Here, I will pull up. Let's see. Oh, don't select all. So I'm just gonna make some text and then drop in a new table so you can see what text wrapping looks like. Let's throw in a table. So the text, see, I've started typing, and then the text makes room uh, for the table. And then with table tools, in the layout, I can set up some properties where I want that text to wrap around. So you can see I went and I selected around, and that text that was here has now moved to the right of the table. This doesn't look very elegant. I'm just demoing it. You could turn in some table. I just turned all the grid lines off. So here, view grid lines. Oh, here, no more grid lines, but you can still see data, words. So without grid lines, I generally like to keep grid lines on. It's just it's nice usually for the reader to see. There's that select feature again. Again, and all this stuff you can come find through right-clicking. So this properties up here is the same as this table properties right here. You don't necessarily have to be in the table tools ribbon. Depending on your version of Word, you might not have it, and you might be accessing most of this through right-clicking. Anyway, here we've got the inserting columns, or inserting columns and rows. And you hit this little arrow here, and you've got that insert individual cells I showed you before. Splitting cells, you could also, let's go with this table, split the entire table. So it's now, this dark line indicates the table itself has been split. And now look, I can modify these cells here, and these cells are unaffected. And I hit enter, and now you can really see. Now we've just got two tables of one row each. Then we've got the auto fit stuff again that I showed you in the right click. In here you can also manually adjust cell size. So let's go and make, in this little table here, everything is 1 inch by 1 inch. And again, it's taking up more space. Enter. The text is still wrapping, which is good. We want that. So you can do a lot up in this ribbon. And again, if you don't have the ribbon, I don't know why I'm trying to save. This is just a demo. Again, right-clicking brings up this stuff. You can even so another cool thing is you can set up margins in your cells. So what you're doing is you're typing, and there's still space. So like here, there's a pretty wide bottom margin. So it's visually very appealing. So margins, let's go with point. Let's go with 0.1 on the left and right. And then see when I'm typing, it respects that margin that I've established. You can also in here dictate how your text aligns within each cell. That would be in this text direction. If you right click, go here to the text direction. That's where you'll find it. Sort is for sorting data. I don't really have data here. To sort, there's nothing to necessarily put alphabetically or numerically, but say you have a bunch of stuff typed in and you're like, oh no, it's all out of order, I need to fix it. You can go sort, sort by column, text using paragraphs. I don't really have any numbers. Then by numbers, ascending or descending. There's a lot to play with that. You can also convert numbers to text or insert formulas, which can be pretty cool. You can in fact add bullets to a specific cell. You can add bullet points. I actually don't know why you'd want to add bullet points to a cell, but you can. Again, I lost my place in my notes. But so these are, yeah, and again, all of this stuff in this ribbon can be found through right clicking. And so a lot of these additional actions here, these basic formatting things, I went through to begin with. All right, so those are the big things. There's also, as I pointed out when I got confused and lost my place, you can draw your own table. So you'll go into table, draw table. I just turned it off. I'm trying to show you again. Gives you a pencil, and then you can. So you can see earlier I set my own that pen color when I wasn't paying attention and got lost. And it'll sort of, you can draw your table and it'll auto snap widths and heights. I don't really see the point in drawing your own table, honestly. It's a little bit clunky and inefficient. I imagine this is something that would work great if you actually had a tablet running Windows 8 and could use a stylus. But because we've got, I'm going to turn this off now. But because, look, we've got in here in these table tools all of these design and formatting options, I don't think that this is necessarily the most efficient use of your time. If you want to play with it, if you want to use that in your book build, because it interests you, it appeals to you artistically, feel free, go ahead, definitely. This is just something I've encountered, in that most of the time with the types of data you're using, that's not necessarily the most efficient use of your time. Another cool thing this has, Excel spreadsheet. So you go into table, Excel spreadsheet. Now, all of a sudden, now there's this Excel spreadsheet in your Word doc. W, point 2. So I'm not really doing, I'm just doing filler text. So I filled this stuff in. Fine. I'm just saving it. Now I click outside it, so I clicked outside of the table. And now it's just converted itself into a plain table that I can then go into. And you don't, the thing about this is you don't have the same formatting options that you would if you had just gone and put a table in from here. Because this is really a very simple Excel spreadsheet. And see, if you double click it, it'll open the spreadsheet again to edit the spreadsheet. But otherwise, again, you do have fewer formatting options for this, but it's nice, it's simple, and it can run calculations for you. Setting up a regular table, you don't have the same power to do formulas as you do if you just did a little mini Excel workbook in here. So, but that's a really fun tool. I would recommend playing around with that and seeing what it does. And also, it wouldn't be Microsoft Office without some automatic things. So you go to this Quick Tables, and you've just got a bevy of built-in little things. Not all of them are that useful, but like you've got calendar. You know, it's nice to on hand. Sometimes you just want to stick a calendar in somewhere. Boom, you got a calendar. um, Again, not the most necessarily the most visually appealing thing, but hey, it's there if you need it. Sometimes you just need it. So let's move on to images. Images, when used well, can definitely make your project more visually appealing. So one of the first things you can do is do a picture. This will go. My picture default is in the My Pictures library. So, you know, I open it up. It takes me to my pictures, and hey, there's a puppy. And I've accidentally inserted that puppy in the middle of that calendar. So I'm going to start a brand new page. Picture. And, you know, find something I want to use. Hey, there's a puppy. It's a pretty big picture. So I'm going to want to resize that. Now look, it's already taken me to this special picture tools ribbon, where I can adjust the size in here. But what I really like to do is just sort of, you see these marker points here, and you see this arrow, this double pointed arrow. I really like to just sort of resize it from scratch. Up here I could, so you see the dimensions changing in this far left corner as I shrink it. I could just make it 5 and it'll automatically adjust. I could do that. I'm just weird. I like to do the dragging myself. But anyway. So we've got that picture. There are if I wanted to center it, I would go into align center, put it in the middle of the page. All sorts of ways you can set up photos. Now, and this is Word didn't used to have any editing opportunities at all. It just didn't happen. And so it's gotten a lot more sophisticated. I will say that, you know, since unless you're, you know, a graphic designer or graphics are super important to your publication, what Word will give you is probably, you know, it's pretty bare bones. It'll probably get you what you need. However, it's a pretty low quality photo editor as far as things go. It doesn't give you a whole lot of options. But I go into corrections. I can make this image 25% sharper or more. Or I can adjust the brightness. And you can see as I'm mousing over different brightness and contrast options, it's slowly generating a little preview. I'm actually not going to mess with that, but you can see those are some of your picture correction options. You can opt to compress the picture, which is basically reducing its its overall quality, to save, like if you need to save space, have your document be a small file size. That's what you could do. Generally, I don't like to compress pictures if I can avoid it, because it really does mess with the overall quality. But sometimes you have to, so you would go into compress picture. You can change picture. You can reset any changes that you've made. And you can have all these artistic effects. And again, it'll sort of slowly generate a preview, like that's supposed to look like a pencil. That's supposed to also, that's a different kind of pencil sketch. Now it's lighter. I don't like a lot of these filters, but they don't work out well for you. They can definitely, they're worth playing with and seeing what you like. You can also pull up some of these automated picture styles. So, hey, it's got a white border. It's got a black border. It's got a soft fade out border. It's got rounded corners. And for some reason, a reflection. um, Now it's compressed into this oval shape. Um, lots of little different things you can play with there. Uh, that oval shape I find to be hideous. um, so lots of different styles, and then in here you can, if you have something, you can adjust. Now it's got a darker border. Now it's got um, an outer shadow on its border, um, and 2.5 point soft edges. Again, I'm going to caution you, be careful as you're going through not to go overboard with the little design tweaks, because a little goes a long way. Now this picture layout thing, it can be interesting. Let's see, which one was I using earlier? Oh, yes, let's see. Oh, this one's good. This is an accented picture, and now I can add, hi, I can add text to it. And it's got this border around it, and it's kind of, it's made sort of a call out. So this particular one is called accented picture, used to show a central photographic idea with related ideas on the side. This dog is named Simon. So you can see how that's sort of setting it up. It's setting up this picture is important. Here's a note that tells you more about it. It's definitely interesting. The thing I don't like about these layouts is that they're sort of space hogs, and they're a little difficult to customize. They're called SmartArt, and they do have their purpose, and they do have lots of formatting options in here. Like, so I can change, I can change the shape of the things surrounding the text. I can change the style of the art. I can you can mess with it, but again, they do sort of take up space, and they're not necessarily the most efficient tools out there. Um, let's go and insert a new page, just to have more space. Sorry. Anyway, um, um, and so those, yeah, the smart arts are also sort of difficult to undo, but I'll just go back a couple of stages. So now we're back to this. I've gotten rid of the smart art. Anyway, um, but again, you can, and just like with tables, you can set up how you want to wrap text, whether you want it to be in line, uh, or not. I don't know if I've actually done enough text to actually show you anything interesting. I don't think I have. Um, Hush computer. Come on. I just want to demo this. So you're typing. You've got your image. Oh, and see, I have it. So I had it set to type, and so it's having this in the center of the text, but also keeping it pretty close to it. You can mess around with different ways of wrapping your text. Square, see, that makes it a lot more even on the borders. Um, and I think something good to keep in mind for your text justification is if you're centering it, if you're wrapping text around an image, go with this justified alignment here, because having a ragged left edge or right edge is really just going to look weird. So here you've got this nice straight edge and it wraps really well, and then you've got this raggedy edge. That's not really the best design principle, but here you've got straight here and nice and even here, and then this nice straight edge on the left side. You know, that's a lot nicer. Again, your mileage may vary. That's just something to think about. Um, and these are just more sort of ways to play with your text alignment and your picture alignment. You can also here rotate your picture. Flip vertical. No, it's upside down. Uh, Other rotation options. This is also, you have a crop tool, crop to shape. So you could go crop to shape. I want this dog to be a heart shape now. So it's cropped everything and just made this heart shape. I find that a little ridiculous, personally. But it's fun. You can play with it. You can also crop to a specific ratio. So, and I've done a 2 to 3 aspect ratio. Um, so again, honestly, like these editing tools have come a long way, and it's likely you'll be able to get what you need. Let's pull up a new blank page here. So, clip art. Um, so what happens? You do clip art. This search for clip art dialog box comes up. There is clip art stored locally in your copy of Office. You can also check this box to have it browse the office.com servers. So you want a picture of a kitten, and now we've got lots of stuff. Keep in mind that the clip art can sort of tend toward the cheesy a little bit, so approach with caution. Um, it's gotten a lot more photography oriented these days, but you can still find sort of these old school clip arts that you were definitely common in older versions of Word. So how I made this, I just went browsing through the gallery, double clicked, oh, there's an image. It's a kitten. It's adorable. Um, and oh, this is another cool thing. This green button here, you can manually rotate your image. Instead of doing that rotation feature I showed you in Picture Tools. Anyway, but yeah, clip art gets you the exact same picture tools as inserting your own photo. So that's pretty cool. Um, Again, you be able to really do very little with uh, with your clip art other than like rotate it and wrap text, and now you can play with it. You can give it cooler borders and things like that. It's fun. Um, shapes, shapes. A lot of reasons to use shapes. Say you're working on a document, you know it's going to need a photo, but the photographer hasn't gotten you a photo yet. Just set up a rectangle, just a plain old rectangle, rectangle. And I haven't set up wrapping text for this, obviously. um, there. So, set up a text wrap, set up a rectangle in the dimensions of the photo. So then you've got this placeholder, so you can just, let's see, you can work on typing your document with that shape there and with the wrap text. And then when it's done, you can delete that rectangle, put the photo in, and you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about reformatting it later. I think that's awesome. You can also, with shapes, you can do a lot. Look, I can do a double arrow bridging 2 points of, this would be good in mapping. So where if I had a chart and I wanted to draw a connection between two ideas, I'd put in an arrow. You can do block arrows. You can do, if you want to put a star on something, like a seal of approval, and then you want to make it bright orange, you can do that. When you insert a shape, it opens up this drawing tools thing. Much of it, like you've got these wrap texting and size adjustments that are pretty much the same as the photo tools. But then for shapes, you've got your outline. You can adjust outlines and color fills and give it a glow. So you've got this glowing orange star. It's lovely. So shapes have, good for drawing attention to things or for using placeholders. Play around with the different types of shapes you can do. I sort of already went into SmartArt, but I actually want to show you some of the things, the SmartArt options for when you're working in pictures are not. Where'd that blank page go? I'm just going to insert another one. So SmartArt, when I was showing it to you in the picture, didn't have as many options. Those were all things you could do with a photo. But a SmartArt can do other cool stuff too. You can do a SmartArt list, or I actually like the pyramid a lot. I think the pyramid looks cool. So I do this inverted pyramid. And then you can change your styles. Oh, I don't like that inverted triangle. It doesn't really work. But oh, I like this one with the tabs on it. I can do that. I don't like this blue. I like green. And then again, these formatting with word styles and and shape effects. Ooh, it glows now. Yay. Again, you can play with the formatting. You can adjust the size here. Then you've got the text wrapping. So this SmartArt, I actually don't really like the stuff that it does with photos, but I like some of the more abstract ways to represent text with it. Again, play around with it. Pretty cool. And then charts. Charts have gotten really cool in Word over time. Just a lot more sophisticated, pretty interesting. Say you want to we're going to make a pie chart. Do this pie chart. Close. So what happened, I selected the pie chart. All of a sudden, this Excel file opened up. And then what I do is I go into Excel and edit my data. And as you can see, as I edit my data, it updates this spreadsheet, or sorry, updates this pie chart for me. Anytime I adjust the data, it adjusts the chart. And it's a very efficient way to keep track of your data, but also keep a visually presentable chart in your sales document or your quarterly report or whatever else you need a chart for. Um, it's great, and you can close this. But then anytime you want to edit the data again, that did not do what I wanted it to do. Oh, so you double click on it, it takes you to this chart tools, edit data. Oh, and there's your Excel spreadsheet again. You can also select specific data from that Excel chart to move or to calculate or to change if you wanted. Again, this has gotten so much more powerful since I was first using Word. You can also save your chart as a template. So if you know you want to use the exact same style of a pie chart every quarterly report for the next 3 years, save it as a template. Awesome. And again, you can play with your chart styles. You can play with, your layout, play with your title, play with the legend. This is the legend. We won't use axes and grid lines in a pie chart, but if you make a line graph, you can minimize your grid lines. You can make them invisible. You thicken your axis line to make it more obvious. And again, a lot of this same formatting that is consistent among all images with wrapping text, with cool word art styles that may or may not be visually distracting depending on how you use them. Let's do another chart just to show you. Let's go with this one. And I'm not going to play too much with the categories, but hey, we've got this nice little chart here. Make it all green. Woo! There are a lot of automatic chart layouts. So, this one has the title here and a lot more grid lines. This one's much simpler, and it sort of depends what kind of audience you're shooting for, how much you need to give them. Or, you can set up that, and then if you decide you want grid lines later, but you only want the major grid lines, what I did was major grid lines. We don't need minor grid lines. We don't need both. Let's just go with the major grid lines. This already has the axis, left-right axis showing up. Error bars, in case we need them. And, oh god, that's ugly. But the point is, you can do it, if you want to. So those are just some different ways to play with charts. Again, the best way to learn how to do this is to just go and play and see what it can do. So the last thing is the screenshot. And this is when you take a picture of something from your desktop, from your computer, and make it a photo. So go to this screenshot here. As you can see, I've already got a screen clipping from earlier that I made. But so hit this screen clipping, and then look. Oh, hey, wow, my whole desktop is sort of whited over. Say I just want to get this little piece of this Ferris wheel here. I select that, and bam, all right, it's now in the Word document. And hey, I can center align it, and I can give it these soft, shiny edges. And look, I can do all of the things I could do when I imported a picture from my hard drive. The other way to get a print screen, if you don't want to do that, is somewhere on your computer. There should be a print screen key. It's usually somewhere on the right-hand corner. If you have a laptop and it's small, it might just be really small and have that PRTSC, or you might have to get a random combination to get it. But so I'm going to do blank page. There. Okay. What I'm going to do is now I can't show you hitting my print screen key because I don't have the camera for that. But so I'm hitting print screen now. Then I'm hitting Control V, which is paste. And look, it took a screen capture of this blank document and put the document in here. So that's just another way you can do it if you don't want to. Or, sorry, if you don't want to go through words. So I could take a picture of I'm hitting my print screen button right now, hitting Control V. Look, there's my entire desktop background that has been put in there, and then I can go into these picture tools and edit it. Print screen is great if you're doing a tutorial or how-tos and you want to show a step-by-step of something, especially on the computer, and you can take a print screen of each step of your journey through whatever instruction and put it in there. So that's about it. I know we have covered a lot of ground today, but I think this is all stuff that you'll pick up on pretty quickly. So I'm not too concerned about you being able to use it. So have a great week. Thank you.